Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Thursday, it's July 24th. This will be our chart listing for today. And you can see we just kind of had what I would call a mixed day today. It looks like a range day on the daily chart, and that's pretty much what you're going to see when we flip over to the 2000 tick chart as well. And we did close higher, so we're still pushing higher. You can see we're getting close to back up here. We're back in the overbought area again. We hadn't pushed through that area yet, but we have pushed higher. So this market wants to go higher. It's up, it's down, it's up, it's down, but it's consistently moving higher the whole time. So anyway, there it is on the daily chart. Let's flip over to the 2000 tick chart, and you'll see it is basically a range day. So let's flip over there. Okay, here's a look at it. Here's our daily chart, or I'm sorry, our 2000 tick chart. And you can see we were in this range early. We tried to break out a couple times, failed. Um, Finally moved a measured move higher, which is an equal. This blue line from the top of this blue line is equal from the top of the range to the bottom of the range. It's just you can click on it and you can see show measured moves. You can click that on and off. And so it's easy just to show those measured moves and look for them to be targets. And you can see we went pretty much straight to that and then turned down from there. We ended up closing near the high of the range before the day was over, the original range. So most likely what it is, we have a range and it's just, the range is just a big, it's like so, and this was original, this is probably just a midline in here. So that's the way I would see this at the end of the day. But those measured moves are easy to slap on there to just to give you a target and see where prices are likely going if they do go higher. And it'll put one on the low end as well. So if you're going lower, you'll see it on the low end. Not a lot of trades today because we don't have a consistent low and high on the range. So it makes it a little harder. And when you get these tight channels and you don't get any second entries, it makes it hard to enter any kind of trend that you get going as well. So just not a lot of trades today for that reason. There are a few here. And there's a few green ones that are close that maybe you might take. But for one reason or another, they're not quite perfect. But we'll talk about it when we get to them. But if you come down here, you had to wait. There were a couple of news items. There was a 7:30 unemployment, and then you had the 8:45 PMI. And both of those are high volatility type moves, so you need to be flat during those. And you can see we did get a move during both of those. So just be flat a few minutes prior to that. But anyway, so 7 o'clock came right as we're topping out in here somewhere. And so you had to sit this out. Then you're just kind of chopping around. But we did get a 1, 2, 3 triple test here. And you could argue that this is a first, second entry as well. I just like it because it's a triple test off these lows and you get a good signal bar. Just go long right there. It's a quick, easy move. Nothing spectacular, not hard to spot at all. And basically, then you get a close outside the channel working up and a new high and a second entry short back up near the highs again with a decent signal bar. So I like going short. So if you could catch those two, it might be all you need for the day and you might be done. And that's the way you want to try to do it. You catch a trade or two early on, maybe get a runner with it, and then you're done. You hit your target for the day and you close up and you go and do what you enjoy doing. And that's how this is done. This is not a get rich quick or trade all day and make as much money as you can, because if you keep trading, you're going to give it back. That's what usually happens. But it's not difficult to come in here and trade until you get two sure things and take those sure things. And if you get them right out of the back gate, great. If you don't, you got to sit around until you do get one. But don't force trades. Don't manufacture trades. Don't try to see something that's not there. Just wait till you get a sure thing that's based on what the price action's showing you and take it. And hopefully you get your trade or two in, and you hit your profit target and you're done for the day. But if you could catch those two trades, you're probably done for the day, because one of them was, you could have easily gotten 3 or 4 points out of that one, maybe 5. And then the other one is probably about the same thing. 3 to 6 points easy out of that. And so then you got yourself 6 to 10 points easy. 2 trades. But anyway, we turn back down here, then we get a close outside. It's just the first entry. There's 2 legs down. There was a second entry. Technically it wasn't a second entry because this is not a new swing high. But you did get 2 swings down to a new low, and it probably would have been worth taking that trade if it wasn't during the news. And you can see that was a nice move up too. But then you get a close outside, lower high. And I marked this green, but this is one of the ones I was talking about. Does that close in the lower 1/3? Maybe. It's close. Maybe if it doesn't, it's within a tick or so. So you might take that trade anyway. The problem is it didn't break lower on this bar, so you really had to wait and go short below it. And but you're still really looking at this setup right here, break below it. And so since it's not perfect, I did mark it green, but I'll be honest with you, I like that trade in real time, and I wouldn't be afraid to take it. So, and then we turn around, you get a second entry long here. I must have missed somehow. I missed this one. But notice you get first entry, second entry. So there's a second entry long right there. Nice setup, nice signal bar, chance to go long again. At the time, this might have felt like it was close to the resistance, the highs of the overnight. So that's probably one reason why I didn't originally have that marked. But I still liked it and meant to come back and mark it. So I think you're okay right there. You really need to have enough room, and I think there was enough room. It just was barely enough, but it would have worked for you. And then you get a close outside, move to a new high, and there's a second entry short right there, another one. It's a big bar, but it's still a really good setup, and it just takes off. So there's another. So if you traded early today, there were several setups here that were just not very hard to find, period. Then it runs down here. You get 2 legs down, close outside, move to a new low, and then a signal bar reversing, another nice setup. And then we tried to go short once, twice, and this is actually, notice the new high here, and you get a first entry, and then it turns back down, and prices break lower and then turn up. So when it goes past this red bar, that is a second entry long by the counts. And so, and I don't think I would trade that on the engulfing bar. You wait for that to close, and you could go long there. There's still plenty of room back to the highs, even if you had your range down here. So another decent setup there, and nothing else here. It just kind of takes off. Close outside, a few swings to a new high, and you get a double top. I marked this one green because the signal bar is huge. And there's a lower high here, but it just looks too congested and too sideways, and we moved too far. There is a reversal pattern here, and that sets up pretty good, so you could go short there. It's only good for a scalp. You're not going to get a big run or anything there because it does come back. It actually ends up chopping sideways and then failing on the breakout. Now, if you had a good signal bar here, I'd say go short on the breakout. But on my chart, it's not good enough signal bar. Let me zoom in here a little more. You can see there's just too much stem there. It's too neutral of a bar. And prices do rocket on back down, back inside the range. These are all first entries down through here or whatever. And so no setups. And then you do get a close outside and a new low. Then we're working up. You do get a first entry here and a second entry, but you can see it was right back into the highs of the range at that point. This was the highs of the range. And so I don't think it was worth it. And you see how it did turn down how many times off that resistance. So you couldn't go long right there at that point. There was too much evidence that it was finding resistance there. Ends up taking off, but it doesn't matter. You shouldn't take that trade. Runs up here and turns down. Notice we get a close outside, new high, and turns down. And this actually breaks higher and fails and turns down. If you understand what you're doing, you could trade that on the engulfing bar. 95% of you just wait for this bar to close. Don't try to trade those because you're just going to end up with a bunch of losers. So it's much more advanced for more skilled traders. So wait for it to close, but it closes very bearish, so go short there. You do get a lower high, but I think it's moved a little too much. It's not a perfect signal bar. You might argue for that to be green. And I did mark this one green because it's technically it's not a second entry, even though it looks like you had a couple of moves up. There's no new low here anywhere, so it's still counting from the original low down here. So you really need to wait on a lower high, which comes here, and then it's not a great setup. So, but we're working down, close outside new low. You might have even considered going long here. It's tempting. But with the 2 bar matching low, you could use this bar if you really want to go long there. But again, I think you need to wait on a higher low, because if you take this trade, it ends up being a 1-tick failure unless you got a little better entry when it broke above this one. I believe it was a 1-tick failure. Let me check that. Yeah, see, it's only 5 ticks, so you wouldn't have got in that unless you got a little better entry. If you'd entered 1 tick above this bar, of course you'd have got out. But this bar doesn't qualify, so that's one of the dangers. Sometimes you get 2 legs down, and that's why sometimes you want to wait on a higher low or a little better setup. So, and then this one turns out to be an inside bar after you get 2 legs down. The higher lows move way too far, and then we turn back down right at a measured move up here. You do get a new high on this too after you get the close outside and new high. And notice there's a first entry, second entry, and we do get a close outside on this trend channel and a new low. So we could be going higher yet. So I like that one. Again, this is close to being green because it could end up doing you just like this one did when you're below the EMA like that. So, it's a mixed bag if you want to take it or not. I probably should have marked it green. But anyway, it's a clear 2 legs up where this one is not. This one's a first entry, second entry, third entry, fourth entry. Well, this one's clearly 2 legs, so for that reason, I felt, and you already have the break and new low, so for that reason, I feel you're okay taking that one. It's only good for a scalp, and then it runs like crazy with a new trend down, and then we get a little overshoot here, and then it reverses. Now you're working up, close outside, couple of moves up, but you just don't get a setup there, and that takes you into 230. And that one's tempting, but again, you don't really have room to get out here. You can see there's only 4 ticks there, and so you need at least room to scalp out before that last low, and you don't have it there. And so even though this is just after 230, I think it's close enough. It's 2 minutes into it that if you had a good enough setup, you could have taken it, but it's just not a good enough setup. So, and there it is. Not a lot of trades today, just a big range day. You can see it right there. A lot of mixed trading. Early on, we had was the best opportunities, to be honest. And then it got a little tougher in the afternoon. So, and we did have the 2 news items as well. There was a home sales there too, but that's medium, so don't worry about it. Let's just look 9 o'clock. That would have came in right in. We were already. Is that where that came in? No. Right there. You can see it just chopping sideways there. So it didn't really amount to anything. But there it is. Just a range day. It kind of closed at the high. I would say it closed in the middle of the range by the end of the day. Early on, if you were considering the original range, and if this was a breakout and a measured move, then it would have closed at the high of the original range. But to me, it just looks like it closed in the middle of the range. And this was the upper side of the range, and this was just a midline. So that's how I read it. That's how I saw it, and that's how I played it. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up, and it is Thursday, so this is going to wrap up our week. No chart lessons on Fridays. I hope you had a good week. Hope you had a good trading day today as well. I did update you on my health issues that I've uh, pretty much been out of AFib for a week or so now, and I went and had a stress test this week too, and I scored like a +9 on a Duke scale, and I think the highest you can score is a +15, and they consider anything over +5 to be in the normal range. So that was a good. That shows that my heart's not weak, and that I'm very low risk for any kind of cardiac arrest or anything like that. So that made me feel a lot better. Um, so I think I'm on the mend and I'm on the right track, and I don't really have a weak heart or anything like that. Which, again, that makes me feel a lot better knowing that those results from that test, me scoring a +9, and I'm not even in very good shape right now because of my surgery and not doing anything and not working out or anything for a couple of months now. So for me to score a +9, I mean, I felt pretty good. I could have. They finally stopped me because I got to my target heart rate they wanted me to get to on the treadmill. But I think 15 minutes is the most they'll have you go, and I did like 12 minutes or something, and I could have probably done the whole 15 minutes. But physically, I was starting to get winded. I will say I was getting winded, but I think I could have kept going. I would have gotten close to getting the whole thing done. But anyway, I met my target heart rate, and they stopped me. And but the results came back good. No very low risk for any kind of cardiac issues. So thought I would update you with that. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Hope you have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.